Welcome to The Explainer. So, how does a company go from being the king of AI to a total underdog in just a few months? Well, for Meta, it involves a secret project called Avocado and a wild multi-billion-dollar scramble to get back on top.
Okay, let's just start with this number because it's pretty mind-blowing. $14.3 billion. dollars. And get this, that wasn't to buy some hot new startup. Nope. That was the price tag this past June just to hire one guy, a founder named Alexandr Wang, and a couple of his key people. Just to hire them. So you'd think spending that kind of cash would solve all your problems, right? A silver bullet. But it turns out it was the exact opposite. According to folks on the inside, this huge investment didn't fix anything. In fact, it just threw the company into chaos and forced them to completely rethink their entire AI game plan. And you can bet Wall Street is watching this with a serious case of whiplash. I mean, at the beginning of the year, all the analysts were like, Meta is an AI winner. Now, they're looking at all this money flying out the door and they're starting to ask, what's the plan here? What's the return on this insane investment? So how did we even get to this point? To figure that out, we've got to go back and talk about their original golden child, the Llama AI models, and see exactly where that whole open source dream started to fall apart. And what's just wild about this whole thing is how fast it all happened. Seriously, look at this. Last July, Zuckerberg is on stage, all in on the open source Llama models. Fast forward to April this year, and Llama 4 is a dud. It just fails to impress anyone. 2 months after that, boom, billions of dollars for a new team, and now the big secret project for next year. We're talking a complete 180 in less than a year. That's lightning speed. And this really shows you just how big of a U-turn this is. The whole idea behind Llama was open source. Put the code out there for everyone, let the community make it better. But now, with Avocado, it looks like they're slamming that door shut, moving to a closed proprietary system. This isn't just a strategy shift. It's like they're changing the very DNA of their approach to AI. Okay, so who did they spend all this money on? Who are these people that are supposed to turn this whole ship around? Let's meet the new team. Yeah, Zuckerberg didn't just go out and hire some managers. He went for the heavy hitters. The big name is Alexandr Wang, a 28-year-old prodigy who's now the new chief AI officer. And with him, Nat Friedman, the guy who used to run GitHub, the home of open source. And they even poached one of the co-creators of ChatGPT. Think about that. This isn't your typical internal promotion. This is like bringing in an outside crew to completely gut the old way of doing things. So, as you can probably guess, when you just drop a whole new leadership team into a company that's famous for promoting its own people, well, sparks are gonna fly. We're talking about a major culture clash. You see, for the longest time, the Meta way was very, meta. Everything was collaborative. You had tons of teams giving input. Communication was all open on their internal social network, workplace. The goal was to keep everything consistent across Instagram, Facebook, the whole family of apps. But the new team's philosophy, totally different. Their motto is basically demo, don't memo. In other words, stop talking, start building. Forget about those endless meetings and getting everyone to sign off. The new focus is all about speed. Build stuff, ship it fast, even if you have to do it in your own little bubble. And what you have now are basically two different companies living under the same roof. You've got this new elite lab run by Alexandr Wang that's acting like its own secret startup. They're not even on the internal company network. They think the old Meta tools are just slowing them down. And yeah, that's causing some major friction with the teams who have been there forever. And that pressure is really starting to build. This whole high-stakes race has apparently led to 70-hour work weeks becoming the new normal for a lot of people in the AI divisions. They're in a desperate sprint just to try and catch up. So, let's be clear about what's happening here. The culture clash, the billions of dollars, the insane work hours, it's all part of one thing, a massive high-stakes gamble. This is Meta pushing all its chips in, trying to fight its way back to the top of the AI food chain. And they are absolutely playing from behind. I mean, their big competitors like OpenAI and Google, they're already rolling out their next-gen models. Meanwhile, Meta's big hope, Avocado, is still waiting at the starting line. It's like they're in a race where the other runners are already a few laps ahead.
And if you want a sign of where they stand, this quote right here says everything. The CEO of NVIDIA, the company whose chips literally power this entire AI revolution, he's on an earnings call, and he starts listing his big partners. He says OpenAI, Google's Gemini, Anthropic, even Elon Musk's xAI. But you know what name he didn't say? Llama. It was a huge omission, a quiet but pretty brutal way of showing the world that Meta just isn't considered in that top tier right now. So how are they planning to get back in the game? By opening the checkbook, a very big checkbook. They've jacked up their spending forecast for next year to around $72 billion. Just to put that in perspective, that's more than the entire yearly economic output of a country like Croatia or Luxembourg. That's what it costs to try and buy your way back to the top. And all of this brings us to the big $72 billion question, doesn't it? Meta has thrown an unbelievable amount of money at this. They've brought in a whole new team, and they've basically set their old company culture on fire to make it happen. But in a race that's moving this fast, is this chaotic, expensive pivot actually going to be enough? Or are they just too far behind?